alignment within oneself is really the acceptance of all parts of oneself, so letting go of the judgment and truly accepting all the different things, all the emotions, all the beliefs you have about yourself or life, but accepting, this has been really hard and challenging, but I accept me.
This is By Joyan Season 2. I'm your host, Joyan Chan, and every Wednesday we bring you inspiring stories, powerful message, and fun conversations with me and my special guests and friends, and it's my personal mission to empower you to live and lead a life with joy. This podcast is for you if you're looking for more joy, courage, passion, and purpose in your life. Now let's dive into today's episode and get ready to laugh, learn, and live your life to the fullest. As keepers of the ancient wisdom held within the deck of 52, our guests today use the source cards to guide high-achieving seekers into soul-aligned clarity and deep personal fulfillment, blending coaching and healing in a powerful balance of masculine and feminine that help motivated individuals decode their soul's game plans, break free from the invisible patterns that keep them stuck, and finally live the life they know they are meant for. Over the years, they have worked with people who have achieved outward success yet still feel like something essential is missing. So they are here today to empower you with the map, with the tools and the guidance to master the only game that truly matters, your life. So ladies and gentlemen, help me in welcoming the Sacred Strategy Guides for the Game of Life, Alexander and Viki. Welcome to the show, guys.
Oh, thank you so much for having us, Joyan. It's really a pleasure.
Yes, we're excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
I think I'm more excited than you guys. Really super excited because I to be honest, before I research and visit your website, I had no idea, zero idea what this is going to be about, what source card even is, until I visited your website and entered my birth date. I was like, this is crazy. It was so, accurate. I was like, how is this even possible? So let's start with the big question. The source card, basically what you do, your business, is just an ordinary deck of playing cards, but you claim that it decodes the patterns of life itself. So how did you discover that there's something sacred hidden in what most people see today is just like playing cards?
Well, I went on a long personal journey, spiritual quest, starting at age 17. I had a surprising spiritual awakening. I grew up Roman Catholic, didn't think too much of it, but surprisingly had an awakening when I was 17 that sent me on a journey to look for answers, to try to find what is the meaning of life? Why are we here? It led me through every religion. I went to India. I was meditating all day there, became a Swami there. Previously, I'd gone to Roman Catholic seminary. I thought I would be a priest at one point. I studied every esoteric system of knowledge. I worked with shamans doing plant medicine ceremonies. And then, much to my surprise, the answers that I was looking for my life, I found out when I realized I'm born to play the Nine of Hearts. Someone casually introduced it to me at a party in Brooklyn. So I like to joke that I found the meaning of my life at a party in Brooklyn. After this search all across the world, it was at a party in Brooklyn that I found the meaning of my life. And a deck of playing cards, of all places, to find it. There's very little written about it and not much known about it. I started doing my own research and my own study on the real meaning of the deck of 52 playing cards. And what I realized is that these same cards, this same deck, was once known as the Book of Life in ancient times. It's a little book of our life on Earth. There's 52 cards in the deck. There's 52 weeks in the year. There's 4 suits and there's 4 seasons. There's 13 cards in each suit. There's 13 weeks in each season. Now here's where it gets interesting. When you add up the face values of the cards, the ace is worth 1, then you have the 2 through the 10, the jack is worth 11, the queen is worth 12, and the king is worth 13. So you add them all up, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. For all the 52 cards, when you add up their face values, you get 364. Then the Joker is the fifth element in the four-part system. So his number value is represented as a fraction of 5 over 4, or 1 1/4. So when you put the Joker back in the deck, you get 365 and a quarter, which is a perfect map of our solar calendar. So you have this little deck, quote unquote, that accurately represents the seasons and cycles of life on Earth. And in ancient times, books didn't have bindings. Like books of the Bible were written on scrolls, parchment. They were still called books. So in ancient circles, this little instrument, this little toolkit would have been known as a little book of our life on Earth. That's how it would have been known in ancient spiritual societies. And it's referenced in the Bible many times. And we've all thought that those were maybe figurative or allegorical references. But what I realized in my own research is that the biblical writers were aware of another little book, Book of Life, and they were referencing it. Literally, they knew about it. But then it was hidden in plain sight. And in the Middle Ages, the Catholic Church persecuted it and called it the Devil's Picture Book, or the Devil's Bible. So it was persecuted. And that propaganda was very successful. Even today, people have not heard of the real meaning of the playing cards. Like you said, you just found this out. So that propaganda in the Middle Ages worked all too well to keep people away from it. Once I discovered what it really means, and then I started sharing it with Viki, my life partner, we realized we want to bring this out for everybody. Everybody needs to know this. This is ancient hidden wisdom that is a game changer, literally, that helps us all to see who we are and why we're here, what's our life purpose, how to relate to each other, have healthy relationships, how to live your happiest, most fulfilling life is all in the cards, pun intended. And so we decided we want to teach this. We want everybody to know this. We want children to grow up knowing their cards to play. We want to help couples who are having marital troubles to know each other's cards to play. We want to help leaders to live their best life and then create a ripple effect of consciousness where we're all able to live in more harmony on this planet because we all know who we are and why we're here. And then we're not fighting with each other because we can find that deeper harmony by all knowing our cards to play together.
Right. Okay, we'll dive into the how later, in the later part of the podcast. I'm just amazed because I do play cards with my family once in a while, you know. I'm gonna see it so differently now. Like they are not just playing cards, right, for entertainment, but it's like the meaning of your life is like huge. But how about you, Viki? I know you had some health issue in the past. How did you come into the picture? When you first learned about the playing cards, sorry, not playing cards, the source card, like what was your first response or reaction?
Great question. So I had a medical issue. I actually didn't get my period for 6 years, and doctors couldn't figure out what was going on with me. And so my mother actually found an energy healer, and I went to the energy healer and had this profound session. And it was like a day or two later, I got my period. And it was like, it really catapulted me in the world of healing. So I spent years and years just learning about myself, like studying with different healers, just learning from them, receiving sessions. I ended up going to the Barbara Brennan School of Healing. I'm now an energy healer. And, so I did a lot of years of self-growth, like really studying myself, wanting to be my best self, learning about my shadow parts and, life lessons and challenges and my true belief systems about things and how I created my life. So we've been together for 12 years now. So 12 years ago when I met Alexander, it was at a cafe in Manhattan. And he asked me my date of birth. And in 20 minutes, he told me all about myself. And we joke that in 20 minutes, he told me all these things that I had just spent like about 20 years learning about myself. So it was quite surprising. He just told me things that like some deep things, good things, not good things,
I was nervous. That's not necessarily what you do on a first date.
So, it was just, it was it was shocking, it was like really surprising that all of this, my life path would be in this template. And then I started looking up other people in my life, my family, my friends, past relationships. And that is really when it hit me wow, there's really something to this. Because as I learned, other people's cards to play, it was healing. It helped me accept my relationships. It helped me accept past experiences with people, past relationships. My parents, how they show up and the way they are. Wow, it's like it's all in their cards. And I think no wonder, like certain dynamics and certain things, how they play out, it is all in the cards. So the relationship dynamic aspect of it really got me. It's my favorite topic to talk about. And, that's when, we just eventually, like with my energy healing and Alexander, bringing out the source cards in the world, we eventually came together to do this, to bring this together out in the world in a big way. So
you mentioned that in 20 minutes you learn everything that you have spent 20 years trying to learn about yourself. So how does our birth date or someone's date of birth, reveal their personal source card, and what kind of insights can we really gain about ourselves?
Well, that's a really good question. The technicality of how it's calculated is based on a mathematical algorithm that calculates it based on your birth date. I won't necessarily go into that algorithm for your audience, but it is math. That's how it's calculated. And I'm curious, you mentioned you looked up your card. What is your birth card?
Ace of clubs and 10 of spades.
Okay. So to answer your question of what it shows once you know your card, what did you learn about yourself when you found out you're born to play the Ace of Clubs with a 10 of Spades personality?
I think most of it I just know is me. It's true. It's fact. It's just kind of like reinforcement, like validation, like this is who I am, right? And the reason why I'm feeling this way, or the reason why I'm overwhelmed or anxious, like it's because of this, right? Because you have the like smiley face and the angry face. I read all that. Yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Yeah, that's often what people tell us. One of the most important things that they get from knowing their cards to play is they get validation.
Yeah.
They know, oh, this is me. And I've had many similar responses and reactions, but one of them that I like is a woman emailed me after she had read my book and told me that she had tears streaming down her face as she read about herself because finally she felt seen. She felt like, oh, this is me. And she was no longer questioning or doubting herself. She was able to accept who she is in this lifetime and accept her life path.
Yeah, I think I was too ashamed to admit that I had tears too, you know, and because I remember there was this sentence, just one sentence really hit me. I was like, this is why I'm stuck, That's really powerful. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Well, you're welcome. And thank you for your vulnerability
Yes.
and sharing that you had that
Yeah.
response as well. When I first learned I was born to play the Nine of Hearts, it was like a deja vu moment. Like the air got thick around me and my knees actually buckled for a moment. It hit home so powerfully and resonantly. Like, oh, this has been my life experience. And it's all explained in this simple language, in this simple toolkit. It literally blew me away.
Yeah. So how do we play our cards right? So, okay, let's say someone now that they know their source card, like for example, just take me for example, right? Since I've already done that, the first step. So what is my next step? Like how do I play the cards right, or my cards right? What does it really mean?
The first thing is just the awareness of the energy patterns, right? Really being aware and exploring oneself in how, you know, how you resonate with the high side. So when you were talking about the angry, the sad face and the, smiley face,
Yeah.
the smiley face is the positive aspects of the card. This is on our website. And then the, sad face is the negative aspects of the card. And so like just bringing that awareness to both of those sides of how we are affected by that. How are we playing that? We say playing that because it's like we're making choices. We're making choices to play something in a positive way, seeing things as an opportunity and playing it positively, or going down into the low energy of something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So again, this is an interactive experience because it's your life. So it's not just a theoretical exercise. So I'm curious, what does it mean for you to hear that the next step is to have awareness of these patterns and to live your life with the awareness that you're born to play the Ace of Clubs with a Ten of Spades personality? What might that do for you to have that awareness?
I think I'm still trying to understand because like this is my first encounter like with the source card. Before this conversation, I have no idea that they even exist, right? So I think I'm just trying to wrap my head around it, like the idea, the concept, the spiritual meaning behind it, um, and what does it mean that I'm an Ace of Clubs? Like, what does that
Mhm.
even mean? It's like I'm
Right.
trying to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I have the awareness, of course, knowing that this is my the theme of my life, right? I think that represents, and the
It's the
other one
theme,
is
yeah.
like your personality, like things like that.
Yeah, we say it's like your soul's blueprint. It's your
Okay.
human template. It's literally the game that you're here to play. So you are not your cards. You are not an Ace of Clubs. For lack of a better word, you're a soul.
Yeah.
You're here to play these cards. So you're here to play out what it's like to play the pattern of an Ace of Clubs. And one of the big things that an Ace of Clubs is here to do is you're here to initiate your own knowledge. And you're here to be a master of knowledge. We could say even that's part of your life's purpose is you're here to bring forth knowledge. The ace is the number one. It's the beginning point. So you're here to begin and start it and bring forth clubs, which are knowledge. That's what you're here to do. And in the process of bringing it forth, you develop your mastery by bringing it forth in the act of bringing forth knowledge. So we could say, for example, hosting a podcast
Yeah.
would be a way in which you can initiate new knowledge. You're talking to us.
Yeah.
People who watch your podcast are going to hear new knowledge that they've never heard before.
Yeah.
And this is your purpose to do that.
You're
And
making that happen. You're initiating that. You're creating this to happen. And you can see it. We took the numbers off the cards so you could really see the patterning on the card. The cards themselves are symbols. They're very healing even to just meditate on. This is the Ace of Clubs. And you can see this single pip in the center, initiating this energy coming forth in all of this space around it. So, you can even see it here in the patterning of like you coming to bring forth and initiate your ideas and concepts.
I love that.
And then there's a whole life path of cards. So you're asking, like, what's next? What
Yep.
else is there? The first step is having awareness of your primary patterns. But then there is a whole hand of cards. You have a whole hand of 13 cards. I write about it in my book, but he was just showing you my book, The Play Your Cards Right, A Sacred Guide to Life on Earth. You can read about all 13 cards in your life path.
Yeah, you can see them here. So all the life path is right next to the birth card.
So that helps you to see different aspects of your life. Like, what are your big lessons in life that you're here to learn, challenges that you're here to face, your keys to financial abundance, it's in the cards, your relationship patterns are in the cards. It's all in the cards, pun intended. So you can look up your life path and then see all the different aspects of your life. Then, if you want to, the next big step to take is to look at your yearly cards. Every year you're dealt a new hand of cards by math, and every year then you have new cards to play that show you your patterns for your year. What are your financial patterns this year? What are your relationship patterns this year? What are some key challenges you're going to face this year? What are some blessings and opportunities for you this year? Again, so that you can have conscious awareness, so that you know what they are. And once you know what they are, you still have free will. Nothing about this contradicts free will. You can still choose what you want to do, but at least now you have the information.
Yeah.
Now you know, now you have the awareness of what's possible. So now you can hopefully, if you want to, make more enlightened choices.
Certainly, but I'm just curious because I have had astrology reading in the past because you mentioned yearly reading, right? I had done one in the beginning of the year. So how is this different from the astrology or even human design or even the other one is like when you mention math, I think of numerology. So how is it different from all these other systems?
The system to me is like it's very complex and super simple at the same time. You have these 52 energy patterns and then also the Joker. And the definitions of those patterns are pretty simple in how to play them, the high side of the cards and the low side of the cards. So it's there's a simplicity in that. And I would say, so Alexander is talking about like the yearly cards and these other things that you can really dive into. But to me, when first starting, it's really to hone in on the birth card and the personality card and start to explore oneself with just those two energy patterns to see where the low side is coming into play. So, if it's okay, I'll use you as an example.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So, low side for an Ace of Clubs could be like feeling really insecure to bring out your ideas. So, it's like if that were to happen to you, um, what do you believe about it that might make you feel insecure? Things like that. Like for you to explore, some of the low side stuff. Like when you said, like that feeling shame about,
Yeah.
your response, and things like that. What comes up for you around it? Like, oh, like you know how am I playing out this low side and how can I shift it to a positive in myself? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I had studied all those systems before I found out the
Mm.
real meaning of the playing cards. And so I had studied even Mayan astrology, palm reading, gene keys. I studied everything. What I found when I found the real meaning of the playing cards, as Vicky said, is a simplicity that is not present in any other system of knowledge. It's also a visual system. There are patterns. So it's a simple visual system that shows you the patterns of your life. So I really like that simplicity and that visual aspect of it. It's also based just on your birthday. It's not based on the time and place of your birth, unlike astrology. So it's just based on your birthday. Now, the other thing that's really important to say, and now we're going to dive deeper about the real meaning of these playing cards, and this is what really distinguishes them from the other systems of knowledge, is that the playing cards are symbols of sacred geometry. They are themselves not sacred geometry, but they're symbols of sacred geometry. And the sacred geometry that is the building blocks of our reality, based on the Fibonacci sequence, golden spiral, the phi symbol, Metatron's cube, these are all represented in this system of knowledge. So what this system represents, these 52 cards, it represents literally the building blocks of our reality, of how our space-time matrix is constructed. It's almost as if quantum physicists were looking for the structure of reality. They would find the structure of reality by studying these cards. If they're looking for what are the vibrating strings that are making up reality, like string theory, quantum physics, I would say they're going to find out that there are 13 vibrating strings, 13 cards in a suit, 13 vibrating strings across 4 quadrants of being. That's the structure of our reality. So what I'm saying to you is that this system goes way deeper than any other esoteric system because this system shows the very fabric of reality itself, building blocks of reality itself. And it simplifies it into these simple numbers and patterns. And usually, when people talk about genius, genius is ascribed to simplicity. The simpler you can make something, that's the more genius that it is. Like Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared. Such a simple equation, but it represents profound ideas. That's the same with this system. It's so simple, it's disarmingly simple, that it doesn't seem that complicated, but it's boiled down the nature of reality into these simple constructs that we can understand about ourselves and our reality.
Thanks for sharing. Because, I think it's because it's simple. It's just that simple. It's just your birthday, right? And because for astrology, they'll say you need your time of birth as well. And human design is just this complex system that I don't even understand or can't read at all, right? Once I have my chart. But this is so simple. I think that is the reason why I was questioning. There's so many people in the world who are born the same day as me, right? And you listed some of them, famous people on your site. I was like, okay, I was looking through them. And so I think I was saying to myself, it doesn't mean that I'm just the same person. Everything you describe, I'm just the same as this person, that person that you have listed on your site. And I think that's the reason why I would tend to think that, human design, for example, or astrology, then they require more details. For example, the time of birth, it will be more accurate when it comes to decoding your life. But of course, now you mention it, I think that explains beautifully.
Well, as human beings, we like to overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
And we think that something that's more complicated might be more accurate, when actually it's the simpler that is more accurate.
But how about, for people who are born on the same date as me, does it mean that we have the same kind of life path personalities?
You have the exact same cards to play,
Okay.
but you have free will. And that's why you would have a different life outcome than these other people. But if you study these people historically, which I have done, and as you mentioned, I've listed some on our website, you'll find that the themes are the same. They have similar themes that they experience in their life. What they choose to do about it, that's up to them, and that's up to you. That's why it's so important to know your cards in the first place, so that then, as I say, you can make more enlightened choices. If you know your cards to play, then you make better decisions, and then you make better outcomes. You're not struggling against the current. You're not trying to be somebody who you're not. You're not trying to copy someone else's way that isn't right for you. For example, let's say you were born to play a 4 of clubs. Then it would be for you about, how do I put structure around information? How do I organize information? And if you were trying to live that way, let's say your mother was born to play the 4 of clubs, and she taught you, this is how you do it, this is how you live. And then you copy her way, but that's not your way. Your way is to bring forth new knowledge, is to be an initiator of knowledge, not an organizer of knowledge. And this is all implicit. As little kids, we learn this pre-verbally even. We learn how to be and how to live, what's the right way to operate. It especially comes out in relationship dynamics. But we each have different cards to play. Maybe you have the same card as your parents, but probably not. So you have different ways of being. So knowing your cards to play, then you're not trying to copy someone else. You get to live your own life and make choices that are right for you.
But once we know, let's say in a relationship, once we know each other cards, what are the ways that we can communicate better, first thing first, and avoid conflict? Do you have any advice for couples how to play their cards together so that they have a loving relationship?
Well, first, once again, it's the awareness of your own energy patterns that you're playing versus this other person's energy patterns that they're playing. Like Alexander, for example, is playing a heart card as his birth card. I'm playing a diamond. Those are very different energies, right? So then how do we connect and relate? We have different love languages, right? Alexander is playing a heart. It's all about emotions and feelings and expressing feelings and touch and connection in that way. Diamonds are about what you value most in your life, anything you can perceive with your five senses, the physical reality, the physical things in life, right? So my love language could be like spending time together or gifts or going out to dinner and things like that, right? So that's the first thing, is to look at like what are the two people, what are they playing and how do they relate? Another great example is my mother is playing clubs, right? Her birth card and personality card are both clubs. Clubs are about the mind. Clubs are about concepts, communication, conversation. That is what's always been how she expresses herself and her love, like even growing up my whole life, right? That's very different from maybe a mother who's playing a heart card, which would be more emotional based, right? She's more mentally based. So she's showing me her love through her communication and stimulating conversations and things like that. So it's first having that awareness and understanding the difference in the patterns. Or you could be with someone who's having the same and you feel like, oh, wow, we're so in sync with each other because we're both a diamond and a spade, or we're both a heart and a club, because so we get each other because the suits are the same or the numbers could be the same. Like I remember when I first learned the system and I was looking up all those people in my life and all my friends and family and past relationships, I'm like, the number of people who were playing a five of diamonds just like me was amazing. And it showed me how, like, here I am going through my life looking for people who have a similar energy as me. Like best friends for years, like 10 of my friends were all playing the five of diamonds, different personalities, different birth dates. Personality, meaning that's the second most important card. That's your personality, how people may see you, how you may see yourself, and how you show up. So, I was attracted to those people because the five is out of the box in whatever you value most in your life. That's the five of diamonds. So, like, that's another great example of like, being attracted to someone who's playing the same cards, having a similar patterning, similar themes in life, and then you're attracted to that person, versus, being with someone who is playing different, very, very different cards, and then learning their energy pattern versus yours.
When we were first dating and getting together, I already knew the cards. Viki didn't, and I was introducing them to her. It was so helpful for us to know our cards to play, to know each other's love languages. Love language is a whole other big topic, and there are books written about that. Each of the four suits has its own love language. And so I'm born to play the nine of hearts with a seven of clubs personality. Viki's born to play the five of diamonds with the queen of spades personality. So all four different suits. So the two primary cards show you your two love languages. My love language is hearts and clubs. Viki's is diamonds and spades. So even though we were very attracted to each other and we're a very good match in the cards, because Viki's five of diamonds is the Venus card of my life path. I was saying earlier that you can see all the different cards in your life path. Viki's five of diamonds birth card is the Venus card of my life path. It means that I would be attracted to a woman who's born to play the five of diamonds. So she's my Venus, as the song goes. I'm your Venus, baby. She's my Venus, baby. At odds with each other a bit because we have different love languages, and we couldn't understand it until we used the cards as the tool to help us decode why we were missing each other, to help us both understand each other's love languages.
Beautiful. So how do you use the source card to help people today? When they come to you, usually what are the challenges they are facing right now? Do you see a common patterns where people come to you and have some coaching or guidance? And how do you use the source cards to then help them get through whatever they are trying to get through?
Yeah, it's a great question. One of the common themes that we get is people have tried everything else and nothing else has worked.
Okay.
Or they've told me, therapy isn't for me, or they've tried coaching, it didn't work for them. So often it's people who are at their wits' end, and maybe that's the only reason why they're willing to try something as unorthodox and out of the box as finding out their cards to play. I joke with my clients that they must be really open-minded to be trusting a guy to read their cards, to give them guidance for their life. So that's one of the themes. Another theme is people who are wanting to self-actualize and be their best. Like, we work often with high achievers. We live in New York City. We can look out at Wall Street out from our window. Another theme is people who are successful by every metric of life, but they feel incomplete.
They're
feel
just not quite
unsatisfied.
fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right. Just something is missing in them. There's like some void, even though they're super successful on the outside, they're not fulfilled deeply internally.
So that's another common theme that people that we work with. I'll share one story. This isn't as common. This is more rare, but I had one woman who agreed to work with me. And again, she had tried everything else. This is another one of those examples. And she had these health issues that she couldn't resolve. Her hair was falling out. She had weird heart palpitations. She was losing weight rapidly. But that wasn't even the reason why she came to see me. She came to see me because she really wanted to figure out her life's purpose. Why am I here? What am I really here to do? Over the course of 7 or 8 coaching sessions with me, where I laid out for her, here's your cards to play, here's your life path, here's what you're born to do, here's the challenges. We go through all the cards in the life path. A month went by before our next coaching consultation, and when we met and we were talking in the Zoom, she told me how all her symptoms had gone away. She no longer had heart palpitations, her hair had stopped falling out, and she'd been able to put on some healthy weight. And I was perplexed. I was like, so did you see a nutritionist? Did you work with a healer? Did you do something else? She's like, no, I didn't do anything else. The thing that happened for me is I started accepting myself. I stopped judging myself, trying to be someone that I'm not. I relaxed into the truth of who I am, and that changed all of my physical symptoms. They all went away just by the acceptance of herself, by knowing her cards to play.
That is crazy. Wow, thank you so much for sharing the story. You wouldn't know what is possible, right, until you hear these stories. Yeah. So I want to go back to something that Viki, I think, briefly mentioned earlier, which is like all the high achievers, and these are, all the people that you help, right? All the high achievers and successful people, although they are, they're successful in the outside, external world, but inside there's something is missing, right? Because we have seen this over and over and over again. We hear it all the time, right? People who are successful, but they are not happy with their life. They have all the money in the world, yet they are not happy with their life. They want to commit suicide. So what is really that piece that is missing in these people's life, that's causing them unhappiness, misery, and all that, depression, anxiety? Really, what is really missing?
I mean, to me, it's not knowing the cards to play and perhaps even playing other people's cards, to be successful, and using will, to move forward and to be successful, but not really activating one's true essence and one's truth within themselves, like the energy that they're playing for their life.
So how do we know we are playing our cards right? Like, what are some of the symptoms or signs that's telling us, like, yeah, you are playing your cards right, keep going?
That's a great question. You will start to notice synchronicities. Things will line up for you effortlessly. Here's another example. I had a client in the morning asking me about, she wanted to have a breakthrough in her career and had been all these job interviews and nothing worked for her. She was at her wit's end, didn't know what to do. We did the session. I told her cards to play, got her in alignment with herself, in the acceptance of herself and her cards to play, who she is, what she's here to do. She called me that afternoon to say that she had just gotten a job offer. I mean, maybe it's a coincidence, maybe, but she had been trying and trying and trying and trying and hadn't gotten the job offer that she wanted. She gets in alignment with herself. She's in acceptance of who she is. She knows who she is. She's not judging herself anymore. And then just like that, the door opens for her as if by magic. maybe it's a coincidence, but the timing is very interesting. That's how you'll know that you're playing your cards right. Things like that happen. Things just line up for you. The right people show up at the right time. Life gets easier. There's a flow that starts to happen in your life.
The key that Alexander just mentioning in saying that alignment within oneself is really the acceptance of all parts of oneself. So letting go of the judgment and truly accepting all the different things, all the emotions, all the beliefs you have about yourself or life, but accepting, this has been really hard and challenging, but I accept me. That's when the deep, deep healing comes. Like, even when we're working with these clients, it's like really seeing, acknowledging, and bringing compassion to these places within people. And that is where that transformation happens, is in absolute acceptance.
Yeah, but I have a question though, contradicting, because I know this is a stupid example to give, but let's say someone is really lazy, and it's just like, yeah, Wiki says I should accept myself. I'm just gonna sit there and do nothing for the rest of my life, right? I'm a lazy person. I always will be. This is just who I am. I'm gonna accept it, right, and do nothing for the rest of my life. So, because I know this is just like a stupid example to give, but you get what I mean, right? This is what I'm trying to say. So, should we just like really accept who we are, or should we like strive to become a better version of ourselves?
That's a very interesting question that you're asking. And I want to preface it by saying that an ace, you're born to play an ace, you are here to initiate something. So you are here to do something. I will say this is the next thing I want to say. Part 2 is that laziness is a symptom of avoidance. When we're really accepting ourselves that we're describing, what happens automatically is an excitement. With the self-acceptance, there's a joy, there's an inner peace, and there's an excitement. There's an excitement to live in harmony with who we are. Now, if you're born to play an ace, as you are here to initiate things. You are here to do things. Someone like me, I'm born to play a 9. The 9s are about transcendence. And historically, somebody born to play a 9 might go and live in a monastery, just check out of life and go and live on a mountaintop in a cave somewhere. Because that's the energy pattern of the 9 is transcendence. I'm going to let it all go, walk away from all of it, and I'm going to go and live in a monastery on a mountaintop. But you're born to play an ace. You're here to initiate. You're here to do stuff. So this is another good place to say that what I really like about this simple system of the source cards is that it takes away any of the one-size-fits-all advice for people in their lives. We're not trying to give the same blanket advice for everybody of what to do. It's based specifically on your patterning, on your cards to play. And there's no one better or worse card than any other. There's no one more spiritual card than any other. It's all the same, just how you choose to play it. So with that self-acceptance, to answer your question, what happens is you find a spark within that then directs you in the right path for you.
It's very different than the lazy person you're talking about who's like, all right, I accept myself. I'm just lazy and I'm going to keep being lazy. There's something still in there. That's not full, to me, that's not full, deep self-love and accepting oneself, right? It's different. There's this, like Alexander's saying, there's that spark. There's something that happens, and that spark initiates like a different choice, a new possibility,
Yeah, I asked the question because I know there are people like that. I've seen them. I have had that in my life. Like I have friends who told me I was putting out motivational quote, and this one friend just texts me and say, "Yeah, you say I can do anything. I can't fly." I was like,
what you could do, which might be fun for you, is put in their birthday on the Source Cards website and look up their cards to play.
It'd be so illuminating to know like the pattern that they're holding. You'll see it clearly,
And then you'll see why they're being lazy. You'll see what they're avoiding.
Right. That's a good idea.
I was going to say they're probably playing a jack, because jacks can be really lazy. People playing jacks,
Right.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I'd be curious to know if any of them are playing jacks.
Let us know afterwards when you look them up and tell us
Sure.
what their cards.
So yeah, for people who are listening, for my audience, if they wanted to learn about themselves, what is the first step?
First step is go to the website, thesourcecards.com. And on the homepage, you can plug in your birth date and find out your first 2 cards to play. And then I also recommend getting Alexander's book, Play Your Cards Right, A Sacred Guide to Life on Earth. That is also on the website. And that's where you can start going deeper into your life path of cards.
And then if you want to, from there, right now we're offering life audits. So you can send us your questions, and Viki and I will record personalized answers for you, what to do in your relationship or your career. If you have these specific questions in your life, you can get a life audit with us, and that's also on the website, thesourcecards.com.
Yeah, a life audit. Who wouldn't love it? Thank you so much for your time and your generous sharing and answering all my questions. Before we end, is there anything else that you really want to talk about? Perhaps I didn't ask you or didn't let you.
You asked us great questions.
Yes, you're really great at this.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I will say one thing that I always like to say at the end when I sign off from an email or anything that I'm sharing as kind of a final blessing statement is to live your life like it's your favorite game to play. That's my mantra for myself as well. It's a simple statement, but it's actually really profound. To approach your whole life as if it were your favorite game to play. Like you're a little child, like you're a little kid at play in this life. And that's the way that you approach your life, like it's your favorite game to play.
That's amazing. Yeah, this is your life. This is the only game, like you say, that truly matters, right? Wake up every day and play it and, have fun, enjoy.
It's all how you look at it. It's all the perspective. You can focus on playing a game or you can focus on negativity. It's so different, the perspective.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so I'll put all the links in the show note below, guys. Go visit the show note and connect with them. Thank them for coming to our show today. Go find out your source card by entering your birth date and let us know, what are your 2 cards to play. I would love to hear it from you as well. Share this on your IG story if you are listening, or share it with your friend and family so that we can all play this game together. Thanks for listening, and I wish you all a joyful and amazing day ahead. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again for tuning into Find Joy Joyan podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, take a screenshot and share it on your IG story and take findjoyjoyan_podcast so I know you are listening. And leave us a positive review on Apple Podcasts if you haven't already done so. And remember to hit the subscribe button whether you are listening on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, or any of your other favorite platforms. If you love what we are doing and want to become one of our sponsors, you can send me a DM to connect. And thanks for being here. I will see you soon in the next episode.